Hi everybody, my name's Carrie. Thank you so much for being here. Today is January 27th, 2023. It's a Friday. We're heading into the weekend. I live just outside of Portland, Oregon, and we're going to be heading into some super cold weather, which is lovely. I like the cold weather, but it's going to be like highs around freezing. So we may get a little bit of snow, which would be lovely. So I have been busy making things, putting things to the side, making new things, all the things. I'm involved in 3 make-alongs. I don't know how that happens, but it just does. I'm rolling with it. And started a new quilt. I'll talk about that in a second. It's okay. It's all good. I've got time. Let's do it. So, to get started, I am wearing a finished object. This is my Aurelia cowl by Hillary Smith Callis. Put the pattern info here. Any links to patterns, websites, whatever will be down below in the description box. I was working on this the last time I recorded, and it is now finished. And it is a very wearable cowl, as is other cowls I have made by Hillary. She's a good designer and has some really nice cowl designs. So I like wearing this. It's got, this is Barnyard Knits in a base that I'm not sure if she's still carrying, but it's like fluff and goodness and all that stuff spun together. I can't remember what's all in it because I don't have the tag anymore, but it's a very drapey yarn with like silk and I don't know, it's got a bunch of stuff in it. So anyway, that's what I'm wearing. And like I said, I have started a quilt that I wasn't anticipating liking, and I'm going to admit I am enjoying the process. Let's put it that way. And we'll go into that in a little bit. Some life stuff that's been happening. We have had to put Jim's mom into hospice care, and so now it's just sort of this waiting game. So that's been kind of stressful and affecting what I get done and how I feel about getting anything done. So she seems to be okay. It's just waiting. It's just waiting. So that's unfortunate. But we've had some good visits with her, and it's time, but it's hard. So I'm just going to jump right into the quilt that I'm making. So I was making a quilt that involved some paper piecing, and after Christmas I was like, okay, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to cut the fabric the way I want to cut it, so the paper piecing is going to go smoother, and I was like ready to go. And then this quilt along happened with friends, and I was like, okay, I'll join in, I'll participate. And I had shown this book that I had gotten a little while ago, and it's 100 modern quilt blocks. It's a loose term. It's a book that Tula Pink put out several years ago, and it's to make 6-inch blocks, different designs in each block. They're all very, very simple, which wasn't exciting me a whole lot. Like for instance, come on, that's really not that hard. So when I got the book at the referral of a friend, Chip, I was disappointed when I got it, because I looked at it and I thought, oh my gosh, these blocks are just, they're just simple blocks. Like, I don't like it. Like, boring. So I was kind of like, nah, I don't know that I really want to do it. I don't care for sampler blocks or sampler quilts, and a sampler quilt is when every block is different, and so it's sort of mishmashy. Not a big fan of that. And so it was like none of this really appealed to me, and I struggled with like, what am I going to do? And then I had the idea of just working in 2 different colors. I looked at my stash. I don't really have a stash. I just have bins of scrap fabric. And scrap fabric is like bigger pieces like this. Like I got that piece. I can make something out of that. It's usually leftovers from a quilt. like the dog quilt. If you guys remember a little bit ago, I had some left over from that because I didn't end up using very much. So, but it's a scrap because it's not yardage of any kind. And I thought, what scraps do I have the most of? So I looked at my bins, which ones were fuller, and it was the blues and the greens for whatever reason. And I thought, okay, let me just work in that palette. Let me challenge myself by just working in that palette. And I find that I get more excited about making a quilt if there's some sort of a challenge. And it doesn't have to be a challenge on constructing the quilt or constructing the block. It has to be some kind of a design challenge that gets me excited and that makes me want to work on it. So when I put that challenge to myself to just work in 2 colors, I actually got excited about it, to just see like, where will this go? And so I pulled my bins out, took all the blue fabric and all the green fabric out, and I put it in my little rolly cart that I have so that the blues are in a tray and the greens are in a tray, and I'm just working with that. So that actually made me excited about it. And I could end up with 2 different quilts. I could end up with 2 like lap size quilts or a bed size quilt, which I don't really think I like the design enough to have it on any bed. So I'll probably aim more for a couple of lap size quilts. I'm going to go ahead and make all the blocks as far as I'm planning now because I have a lot of scraps. And, you know, these little bits of fabric, it's perfect for that. It's perfect for using up that little bit because the blocks aren't very big. So you're not cutting big, huge pieces. And it's going to be different each time. I don't need enough to make the whole quilt, kind of a thing, if you follow me. So in the book, they are broken down into categories. So you have like what this is telling you in here. You have crosses, rectangles, triangles, stripes, squares, and haiku. So I'm in the rectangle chapters. And so I made the ones that are going horizontally across my design wall are the quilts in the cross series, the cross chapter. And so that's blocks 1 through 15. And the other section, that's what I'm currently working on, and that's the rectangles. And that's got 15, 20 blocks in it, something like that. So I actually got a little bit ahead of what we decided as a group would be our timeline, because we wanted to try and do 10 blocks a week, and I'm on like 23 or something. So I'm a few blocks ahead. And so that's okay. I mean, we do a Zoom on the weekend, and then I can get quite a few of them done then. So I'm working on 2 blocks at a time, a blue one and a green one. I'll dig through my scraps based on the pattern, and I'm having to really play more with value. So the value is like the depth of color, kind of lights and darks, if you think of it that way, because it's all in the same color family. In order to make the pieces look different, I have to play with value. So that's another challenge. This is a tool I've used a couple of times, and it's a red. This is called the Ruby Beholder. I've had it for a long time. And if you look through it, I don't know that you can tell here, but if you look through it at fabrics, it takes the color away. And it helps you see value and see which ones are lighter and darker. You can also take a picture and turn it black and white. Kind of does the same thing. So I've done that. A couple of blocks I made that I'm like, I don't know that I really like that. But I'm going to leave it because in the scheme of things, it's going to be a busy enough quilt that I don't have to have every block be my favorite. So as far as I am right now, I'm just in the 2nd chapter. I'm just going to leave them. So there is a block right there. The fabric was actually blues with a little bit of pink in it, but the way that it ended up getting cut, all the pink came out. So it's like this oddball block with some blue stripes and like these pink stripes. So I'm going to probably redo that one because that's like, it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. But for the most part, I'm just following along, sticking with blues, looking for lights and darks, and, you know, figuring where to put them. And then I'll work on a blue block and a green block and get those done, and then do the same thing for the follow-up blocks. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to set it. It's all going to kind of depend. I had the idea of setting it something like this, but instead of having just solid fabric here, have like green and blue kind of interlocking I might do that. When all the blocks are done, I'll put them up on the wall and kind of play with the setting. Or I could just put them together in a grid, call it good, make a couple quilts, and be done. So that part, I'm going to wait until I've got the blocks done before I make any of those decisions. So because I'm working on that, and that does take any sewing time that I would give myself, that kind of takes that. So I've put my other quilt with the paper piecing away. I might take it out to kind of have something different to work on in between, but I kind of feel like I want to just keep going with this since I'm in that mode, and I don't know. So for right now, that's what I'm working on. So I think that's going to end up being nice. I'm actually kind of excited about it because I put the challenge on myself. And I find that that's what gets me excited to work on something is sort of that design challenge. When I used to go to the Quilt Guild that was local here, every year they would have a challenge, and it would be maybe a technique challenge or a color challenge, palette challenge, whatever it was. And I really loved that. Just like I had that yellow and black quilt up here a couple episodes ago, or maybe even last episode. And that was from a challenge where I had to use black, white, and one other color. And so it challenged me to figure out what to do with that. So challenges can be fun for me because I don't need to make any more quilts. I have plenty. Everyone in my family has one. Friends have them. I really don't need to make any more quilts, but I like the process of it. So if I can make it kind of fun for me, then I can get excited about it. So that's what I'm doing with my quilting. And then I'm also decided that I'm going to make a blanket, kind of a quilt blanket, I guess. Patchwork blanket, I should say that, with my weaving. So I think last episode I showed you guys that I was making squares with my Zoom loom. It's a pin loom. And where's my square? I had a square to show you guys. Oh, here it is. So it makes these little 4-inch squares woven with yarn, and I'm using 2 strands. Sorry, my nose is just really itchy. I'm weaving with 2 strands of fingering weight yarn and just making a bunch of these squares. And I posted a picture on Instagram because I had laid them out, like, just let me get an idea of how many across I need to do to make it the size I want. I mean, I could figure out the math, but I needed the visual. So I decided to make a lap size blanket using these squares. And I'm going to do 13 across by 18 down, which should give me 52 by 72. I might only go 17 down and make it 4 inches shorter so that I could add a border because I'm not that tall. I don't need a really long blanket. But my goal is I'm sticking with the 52 by 72 size. If I do that, I need 234 squares. I have 63 done now, which is 26.92% of the blanket. Because I had help with my Echo device doing the math. So I'm a quarter of the way there, a little bit over. I still have to put them all together, which I'm going to do a slip stitch crocheted slip stitch to stick them all together. And at first I was like, I don't know, should I just do like Lindsay she does all the yarn podcast and Instagram account. She's the one that inspired me to get the loom and to start making these squares. She's stuck hers together with just undyed yarn, which looks very nice and looks very clean. So I thought about doing that, but then I'm like, I don't know, that just sounds, I could do that. This morning, I had this brilliant idea that I'm going to use this yarn to hook them all together. So this is, sorry, the label's kind of destroyed. This is a discontinued yarn by Hobby, and it was their Zafira. It's cotton, wool, and acrylic. It is about a DK worsted, and it's kind of like a fuzzy sort of yarn, but it's this heathered black, heathered gray color. And I thought, it's a neutral, it'll be perfect. I have 20 something balls of this. For those of you who've been around a while, you know when I ordered this, I ordered some to make a poncho, I think. And when it came through FedEx, and FedEx had destroyed the package, and some of the balls were lost. So I contacted Hobby just to let them know, like, hey, FedEx is kind of messing up your stuff. They sent me a whole nother 10-pack of balls of yarn. And so I have a lot. So I have plenty to hook these all together. And I think that heathered black will just go with everything, be neutral, and then I won't have the white. And I have this. I almost was going to rip out what I have started. And I was like, no, do I really want to continue with it? And then I had the idea of hooking my squares together. And I think I'm going to undo that project. I don't know. I still kind of like it. I'm not really sure. But anyway, that's the plan, is to use this, hook these together. I kind of want to wait until I get maybe half of it done before I start putting anything together, so that I can move squares around, so I don't end up with any one color saturated in one area. I find that I'll make a square and then I like this, like I made this, I'm like, well, that was really pretty. What happens if I use, that colorful yarn? So this was made with like a colorful yarn and like an ocean blue color, teal blue. And so I made this again with that colorful yarn and like what did I have? A green, I think, or something, and it looks completely different. So I'll kind of play with that, which keeps me interested in making them, because I like to play with the color combinations. And so I have a tendency to make kind of several in the same color, and if I just hooked them as I made them, I would have sections of the same color. So if I lay some out, put them together after like half, then I can kind of like, oh no, I don't want two pinks together, let's put a blue there and kind of mix them around. So that's the plan. I'm still going strong. I still really enjoy making them. It's a good thing if it only takes me, I timed myself when I did one, and I feel like it was an average square. Like I didn't go particularly fast or get hung up or anything, and it took me about 18 minutes. So to get something finished in just a short amount of time, if I just have a little bit of time, sometimes it's not worth it for me to pick up what I'm knitting and figure out where I am or follow a pattern. I just want to make something just quickly or mindlessly. And so that's what I'll do, is I'll just pick those up and make some squares. So that's been really fun. A lot of my friends have since gotten one, which has been kind of funny. So we're like starting our little club. But I think I'm the only one that's really taken to it like I have. Because, how I am. I get obsessed with something and then I just stick with it for a really long time. Okay, so I have been doing some knitting. I do have a question. Let me ask you this question. So I'm going to show you a pair of socks. They are clean, but they've been worn a lot, so they look kind of ratty. But I have these socks that I made, and I used a Knit Picks, was it like stroll or something for the heels, cuffs, and toes? And I have a hole in my heel. Now this is a heel flap and gusset. It's not a afterthought heel or forethought heel or whatever, cut in heel. This was made all at the same time. Can I replace this somehow? Like I can tell where I can pick up some stitches, but then I don't know what to do here. So if anybody has any information or can like direct me or tell me whether it's even something you can do, because I really like this part of the sock. I'm just really bummed that the Knit Pick stuff wore a hole. I don't wear a hole on any of my other socks that I have made that I haven't done this, like just make the whole sock out of the sock yarn. So not going to be using the Knit Picks for heels and toes anymore. So if anybody knows if I can repair a heel flap and gusset heel, I don't necessarily want to learn to darn it. I could if that saved it, but otherwise I want to take that out and reknit it. I still have some of this yarn. I have a little bit left that I could just do the heel with, or I could pick another contrasting color. So help me with my socks. Speaking of socks, I did start a pair for a friend, and it's my friend's birthday coming up. We actually got together over the weekend, this last weekend, to celebrate her birthday, and I wasn't done yet, but I decided to knit her some socks. Now, she's not the type that will wear socks up her leg, but she will wear shorty socks. So this is the Rose City Rollers sock pattern, which is a free pattern. I believe it's a free pattern. And this is a Barnyard Knits, a one-of-a-kind colorway. It's actually left over from the cowl I made for my friend Lori. I haven't just enough to make a pair of shorty socks, so I'm doing that. And it's the first time I'm making socks for somebody other than myself or my mom. I have made my mom some before. And my friend's got quite a bit smaller foot than I do. So I've had to cross my fingers and hope that these fit her. Now, this hasn't been blocked yet. And when we got together over the weekend, I did have her try it on. I'm like, this is what you're getting for your birthday, but I haven't finished the other sock. And she tried it on and said it fit. So I think it almost looked like it could have been a little bit tight. So I think when I wash them, you know how that all loosens up. So almost done with the second one. I'm like maybe here on the second one. Going, it's cuffed down. So it's just really nice because you don't do ribbing or anything. It's just a rolled edge, which is nice. So hopefully she'll wear those. I don't know. I don't know if she would wear the socks that I make her. She's just recently been just commenting every time I wear hand knit socks, which I've worn like for a long time, but for some reason lately she's been commenting on it. So I thought, well, maybe she would like a pair. So that's what I've done. Another thing that I started since I last spoke with you, this is also with a knit along with a knit group, my local knit group, and we are making the shift cowl. Now, I have not worked on this in a while because I'm not loving it. I'm knitting this with these three colors. This is these are Zauberballs Edition 3. I don't know what the difference is with Edition 3 as opposed to other Zauberballs, but that's what it says. The tags didn't have color names, so I'm just showing you these colors. It's turning out way drabber than I thought. I don't like knitting it. I'm not enjoying the actual knit all that much. I mean, it's not, I don't hate it, but it's not something that I look forward to picking up, so it tends to be the last thing I pick up. And in this section in here, this like looks kind of gray blue color. That's actually two different colors, but in the ball, they changed colors to be almost the same color. And so you don't see the texture so much in there. And it was like, I can't even tell what color I'm working on because they were almost identical. They were that close. And then I got through that, and now you can start to see more color blips. So I'm back to starting to add more blues, and I mean, it's not bad. I kind of hoped it was going to look more colorful, but I think, I mean, I don't know. It may be something I give away. I will finish it. One of my friends is done. Another friend decided to make the shift shawl. She's done. I'm way behind. So I will continue. Like I said, it's just not something I like working on. I'm just kind of bummed about it because I had really high hopes for it. But, you know, in all honesty, I feel like my chair is like scooching down. Hang on. There we go. In all honesty, I wasn't ever planning on making that cowl because I don't know that I would ever wear it. It's a pretty chunky cowl, so we'll see what happens. It probably is going to be given away because you know me. Also, since the last time I talked to you guys, my friend Lori gave me this as a Christmas present. She made this bag. It is so fun and so adorable. I love it so much. It is made, I've got stuff really squished down in here. It's made out of a flannel shirt. And then she put her tag on there. I love this so much. It is the cutest thing. The pockets are usable. Yeah, these mine have buttons, so I'd have to unbutton them, but they are usable. And I love it. She did a great job in making it. I just fell in love with it as soon as I got it. And then I'm like, I need to make these because that's what I do. I see something I really like and I'm like, I have to make it. I don't know what that is or why I feel like I have to make it. She already gave me one. I don't really need to make it. Anyway, so what I started with another group of my friends that wanted to do a knit along starting the beginning of the year. I wasn't going to do it. And then I decided I needed to do it because all my friends were doing it and I totally got sucked into it. But I am making the Vertices Unite. Is that the front? Does it matter? Yeah, this is the front. I'm making the Vertices Unite. Now, I tried to make this last year, I think, when Fiber Hustle had a knit along for it. And I just was like, I just couldn't get into it. I think it was my yarn color choices, because I'm actually really enjoying working on this. I feel like this section has gone on for flipping ever. It's like just one section and it's almost its own shawl. So what I decided to do is, it just kind of worked out this way, is I'm using yarn dyed by my friends. So this color, which is in here, is Sidewalk Chalk by Needles at the Ready. This color, I have to look it up because I can't pronounce it. Okay, so this color is Mrs. Slocum, and it's from a character in a UK like comedy show or something. So I thought that's a great combo, and I love them together. And then, because it's a modular design, so there's different, like I'll do this section and then you pick up and go a different direction with something else. And then I'm going to use this yarn that was given to me and dyed by Nancy of Trilogy Yarns. This is the Rhinebeck, Zoom Besties Rhinebeck 2022 that she knit, or she didn't knit, she dyed for all of us that shared a house when we went to Rhinebeck. And so this is going to be in a section that's going to be all by itself. There's like a solid color, and then you stripe it with some other colors. So then there's other little stripe sections that are smaller that don't need as much yarn. And with that yarn that Nancy gave, she also gave these minis. And so this is going to be the I-cord border, and then this will be striping that goes with, like, I don't remember what colors go with it, but it'll go with those. And then this will be the color that is the I-cord all the way around. So I like working on this. I am way behind my friends because I'm doing too many alongs. I just don't have time to devote to it. You would think, I'm home all day. I don't go very many places. You'd think I'd just get a bunch done, but you know, there's life. I don't ever just sit around and do nothing. So I don't know where time goes, but it just does. I also want to share, there was a couple of Christmas gifts that I had made that I hadn't given as of the last time I talked to you, but have since given. So I did make a couple of Sophie scarves. So that was kind of like the big thing. This winter is making Sophie scarves, and I have a couple of friends that I thought would really like them. So I have given them. I knit 17 hats on my knitting machine for donation, for charity hats. And so I had to give it to a friend to give it to another friend because we weren't able to hook up. I also made a hat for that friend because I just thought she needs a hat, and so I made her one. I don't know that she has it yet, so I probably can't show it. I could show it. So Gail, you're getting this hat. And I was playing with my knitting machine. So it's a flatbed knitting machine, and I was making hats with either like a worsted weight or 2 strands of fingering weight held together. And the worsted weight ones were acrylic that I got at Joann's, so that was for charity. And then I played around with on my standard gauge machine, which knits the finer yarn, so like fingering weight and maybe sport, but I don't know that it could really do sport very well. Fingering lace, you know, the thinner yarns. It has a punch card. And so the punch card is just a piece of like acetate kind of thing that has holes in it that as you're knitting, you have to engage with the different settings and stuff. And as you're knitting, this punch card goes through. So do you remember, now I'm really dating myself, but I remember as a kid was very intrigued by the player pianos that had that scroll with the little holes in it. and as it went, and you turned it on, and as it went through, it played the piano. It's kind of like that, but with knitting needles being engaged. It's pretty much the same thing. So I played around and I made this. I was trying to make a hat, but it just didn't work as a hat. But I thought, wouldn't that be fun to do that as a sweater? I really need to sit down and like devote some time to really figuring it out, and like, because I can do a panel, but I don't know how to alter that Fair Isle type design with like increases and decreases. So I don't know if I can even do that. But it was kind of fun. It was fun to pull that out. I ended up ripping that out and making a different thing, but it was kind of fun to play with it. So I kind of want to play with that some more. I do feel like I need to get through my alongs that I'm doing and not get distracted by that. And I really just needed to put my machine away for a little bit because it was just sitting out in the middle, and I felt like things were unorganized. I had yarn all over and hats all over, and kind of tidied things up, and it felt better. A purchase that I made a little bit ago, and I'm sure you guys have seen it, is Patty Lyons Tricks knitting bag of tricks, and it is very informative. So I've only just kind of skimmed through it. I haven't particularly looked for any one thing, but she's got a lot of really good ideas and explanations on how things work, why they do what they do, and then how you can fix some of the things. So I do recommend it. I got mine on Amazon. I think you can get them pretty much anywhere. And that is all I have. So I hope you're all well, and you're gonna start seeing some thawing if you're in like the deep freeze, which a lot of areas are. But yeah, we're heading into one ourselves, which I like, because then I just stay in here and make things. So that's all good for me. So until next time, I will see you later. Bye.